Hello there, race fans, and welcome to our championship event here for Season 1 of the Ottercar AI Racing League. Tonight we are here in the beautiful city of Las Vegas, Nevada for the championship night here at the Bullring. Of course, the Bullring does not get its name for no reason. This is a rather difficult track that's going to be difficult on our drivers and on our drivers' vehicles. So, without further ado though, drivers are already down on the starting grid, so let's go take a look at our starting lineup presented by the Hybrid Development Team and the Rainbow Society. Starting out on the pole here tonight in the number 330 machine is going to be Lake. And to her outside in the number 12 for the Rainbow Society is going to be Pav. Third place to Stick in the number 53 machine, followed by Bloody Wolf in the 93 to his outside. Fifth place going to be to the 69 machine of Ben Dover, followed by, in the 420 machine to his outside. Seventh place to Felix Marais in the 217 machine. Eighth place is going to go to Zoe in the 666 entry. Ninth place to Sierra Seviron in the 117. 10th to Drop Table Roster in the 369. 11th to Halo in the 0. And finally, rounding out the first half of our field is going to be Med in that number 1 entry. 13th to the driver of the 776 machine, that's going to be Valnar for Blazed and Drunk Drivers. 14th, going to be his teammate in the 38, also for Blazed and Drunk Drivers, of Madcap. 15th is going to go to August in that number 21 machine, with 16th going to our current championship points leader of Octave in the number 11. 17th going to go to the 37 of Space Dragon Queen, followed by Frosty Film in the 7 to her outside. 19th is going to go to Piper in the 8, followed by Pete Comedy in the 20 in the 717 and 20th. 21st going to go to Humongous in the 621, followed by Thirds in 22nd, Maroon in 23rd, and Arvo Soberov rounding out our 24 car field here tonight, race fans. That said, we are just about to go racing here at the Bullring. 90 laps are going to be up on the docket, and we are off. Going to be a very early start for the driver of that number 330 machine, getting a very good run down on the inside line. With the pace car going off on the backstretch, it allows these drivers to use a bit of turns 3 and 4 to their advantage. That is a bit of a difficult acceleration zone on these restarts, but drivers are going to make it work. Looking here at the standings, or not the standings, at the timing and scoring, as there's a little bit of trouble, a bit of a checkup back in the back of the field. The number 37 seems to be pulling off the track. She might have a bit of damage. Sure enough, she is pulling that. Oh no, she's not pulling it into pit lane. That said, the caution flag is out for a driver up in the wall. Bit of trouble very early on in this race. It looks like it's trouble for Pete Comedy in that 717. He's also going to be pulling it down into pit lane here after a pretty big impact here at the start. Only 5 laps in the books. Let's see if we can't take a look back and see what happened to the driver of the 717. Of course, riding on board with that Reddit car, it looks like he's going to make contact with Humongous. That's going to push him up into the wall, and then more contact between Humongous and Maroon is going to put some serious damage on that 717 entry to bring out our first caution. Let's see if we can't ride on board here with the driver of the 717 machine. Currently looking at his visor camera here. A little bit of contact with Humongous out of turn 2. Then Humongous makes contact with Maroon, and there was just nowhere the driver of that 17 machine could really go there. So that is going to be our first caution of the evening here tonight. Currently 7 laps in the books, probably going to be about 9 when we go back green flag racing. And if I wasn't so rudely interrupted by Pete Comedy throwing himself into the wall, what I was getting ready to say is that looking at the timing and scoring on the left-hand side of our screen, the drivers highlighted in purple are drivers that could, in theory, mathematically either earn the championship title or at least tie it. Whether or not they'll be able to do that is another question. In order for Maroon, Humongous, or Pav to be able to tie the championship, both Bendover and Octave would have to come 23rd and 24th respectively. So realistically speaking, the actual championship battle here is between Octave and Bendover. But in theory, if the stars absolutely aligned, Pav, Humongous, or Maroon could theoretically tie the championship if they win this race and Octave and Bendover were to wreck out. That said, lights are off on the iRacing.com pace car, and we are getting ready to try this thing again here at the Bullring. Another pretty good start for the inside line. Having to go through a corner on your acceleration zone on a restart's generally not how you want to do things, but the Bullring is a very difficult track, so nothing but a little bit of extra challenge for these Ottercar drivers. But let's be real, race fans, we know that they're capable of handling it. Currently looking back at Stick in that number 53 machine, currently stuck up on the high line, getting a little bit of a freight train going around him. The Halo in the 0 is going to go around him. Valnar, oh you know, and he is going to finally dive it back down, but he's going to drift up a little bit, and Med is going to make the pass as well. Stick losing positions left and right here as the inside line just kind of is a freight train on this narrow Bullring track. It's like I said, the track did get its name for a reason. This track is very scrappy, very difficult to manage, and is a great way to ruin your tires just by showing up and racing here. But sure enough, even the drivers that aren't in the Ottercar Championship are going to want to compete here to try and rack up as many points as they can before the end of the season. Almost 3 wide there out of turn 4 for Maroon, Stick, and August, but August is going to back out of trying to make the pass there. Currently looking at the 25 of Maroon, who is one of the drivers that could, in theory, maybe tie the championship if everything works out in their favor, but it's going to take a miracle to get that 69 of Bendover out of the second position. That said, further back, looking at our other main championship contender in that number 11 machine, Octave all the way back to the 17th position. Things definitely not looking very good for that Qatari driver. He is currently our championship points leader, but only by 2 points, so he has to finish better than Bendover if he wants to be the champion here tonight, but that is still 14 positions that he's going to have to make up to even catch up to Bendover, much less pass him. And with 20 laps already in the books, Octave is going to need a little bit of a miracle to make his dreams happen here tonight. Octave, one of the drivers that have won this season. He won a couple of races ago. I want to say maybe at Gateway. Not too sure about that off the top of my head. Bendover, on the other hand, the other driver battling it out for the championship, is actually, he has not won a race this season, so that 69 machine has never gotten to victory lane before, but he has very consistently been finishing in the top 5 or top 10 just about every single race. You can see the brake rotors glowing on these tour modified machines though. Very difficult track on the machines and the drivers. Matt's going to dive it down very low and try and get around the 420 machine. He is going to make it happen. Bloody Wolf also trying to capitalize on, oh you know, being stuck up to the high line. Tire wear definitely could be a factor here in this race though. You see how brightly these brake loaders are glowing, so within due time, you could start to see brakes giving out and drivers having big oversteer issues here tonight. A bit further back, currently looking at one of the closest battles on the speedway, all the way back for the 20th position here for the 666 entry of Zoe, followed by Frosty Film and Humongous, battling it out to get within the top 20 here tonight. Frosty Film was the first winner of the Ottercar AI Racing League. He won the very first race back at Hickory, and ever since then he has been having a bit of struggle this season. Very unfortunate for the driver of that number 7 machine, because he put on a very dominant run early on in the season. Speaking of another driver that actually has gotten a win, is going to be Lake in that 330 machine, now starting to put drivers a lap down. Lap traffic now very much a factor here in this race. We will have to see if that is going to allow championship contender Bendover to be able to catch up. Currently a second behind our race leader. If the race were to end right now, if drivers were where they were, Bendover would be our champion, but why settle for being the champion when you could also be a race winner on top of that? So I'd imagine he is going to give it his all to try and get around this 330 machine, and you can already see he's made a very impressive gain on the 330 car now that lap traffic is starting to become a factor. The 69 narrowing it down to just a roughly 0.3 of a second gap between the two cars, and until Lake manages to find a way around this lap traffic and start putting some distance between herself and the Got Milk entry, she's definitely going to be having a lot of pressure in that rearview mirror. A little bit further up the field, Maroon just managed to make the pass around Stick, and August trying to find his way under there as well, currently battling out for the 11th position. These drivers a little bit of a gap between themselves and the other cars, but still putting on a pretty good battle. Maroon's gonna, or Stick is going to try and dive it down low there, but back out of the move at the last possible second, not wanting to make contact with that number 25 machine. That said, this is the final race of the season, and we are nearing the halfway point of this race, so I wouldn't be surprised if sooner or later the gloves come off and these drivers start getting a little bit more aggressive than we've seen them be this season. Currently looking now at the battle between Pav and Frosty Film. Pav, one of the drivers that could, in theory, tie the championship if the stars aligned, but with how things are looking, that might not be the case for him. And speak of the devil, Lake and Bendover side by side. Bendover going to be the race leader for one lap. Going to try his best in that 69 machine to get a race win under his belt, but these lap cars are not making it easy for either driver here tonight. Felix Mariah and Halo both also very much in the mix, currently battling it for 3rd and 4th position. Halo in that number 0 Hydra development team. Also, of course, one of our title sponsors here tonight that sponsors our starting grid and post-race credits. So big shout out to the Zero of Halo and the hybrid development team. The lap cars are starting to move up out of the way of our race leaders now, though. Our 4 race leaders all back to back. Still a bit of a battle for lap traffic for our race leader up at the very front, but otherwise, Lake, Bendover, Felix Marais, and Halo are all nose to tail here tonight. All duking it out to try and claim another race win, because even if you can't get the championship, a race win is still a race win, and that is a trophy you're taking home with you. That said, Lake still doing a very good job of holding on to her position here in that 330. She is going to drift up a little bit, though. Bendover going to try and see if he can't scoot his nose up under there, but it's not going to happen. The 330 is going to close the door on her there. You can see cars starting to all go a lap down, though. Frosty Film going to be the next driver a lap down for the 19th position, so 18 cars still on the lead lap here tonight, and that could be continuing to tick down as we cross through these laps. Lake is showing no sign of stopping anytime soon, that's for sure. Further back in the back, the rest of the field is starting to catch up a little bit, though. Valnar currently battling it out with Bloody Wolf and Pete Comedy, or no, Pete Comedy is a lap down, but oh, you know, getting involved a little bit there in that 420 machine, trying to get his way around his fellow mean car. Of course, these two drivers not actually teammates, but they do have very similar design philosophies, I suppose. A little bit of contact between Pav and Oh You Know there. Oh You Know going to get pushed up to the high side. Pav now looking to try and make his way around that lapped car. Going to push it 3 wide, but everyone makes it through successfully. A little bit of scrape against the wall for Oh You Know, or Pete Comedy. These two drivers' cars look way too similar. They need to stop being together. Lake now having a bit of difficulty because she's blocked by 2 drivers side by side. That's the 369 of Drop Table Roster and the 429 of Arvo Soberov, and just in front of Arvo is going to be the 3 of Thirds, so all these drivers going to be making things very difficult for our race leaders as we wind down this race. Lake stuck up on the high side. Bendover is going to dive it down low and be scored as the race leader that time by. That said, he is going to move up to the high line to try and get around Drop Table Roster, which could open the door for Lake to catch back up. Currently, Sarah Savire in the dividing factor. Oh, and Bendover overdrove the corner a little bit. He is going to drift up high. And he's going to drift up high again. Lake is going to go back to being our race leader. Or maybe not. Now she's got it, but Bendover was going to be scored as the leader that time by. But this is going to be trouble for Bendover. Thankfully managing to dive it back down low, because if he didn't, then Felix Marais was going to get the pass on him as well. Felix Marais did win the 2nd race of the season, but despite that, he actually is currently last place on our championship scoring. He is the only driver to have less than triple-digit points. And admittedly, he's only down by 1 from that, with 99 points overall. Whereas our championship leader of Octave, I believe, is around 176 in points, with Bendover only 2 points behind Octave, so a race win would definitely be a monumental deal for this number 69 machine, looking to try and etch his name in the record books of the Ottercar AI Racing League. So far, we don't have any rumors or speculations on what the format will be for the Season 2 of the AI Racing League, but I do have a good feeling that it is going to happen, and there's a very good chance that it will be looking pretty different from what we've seen this season. After all, there is AI support for many different racing disciplines on the iRacing.com platform, and who knows what these drivers might just take to the field next. It could be open-wheeled cars, it could be GT3, it could be multi-class racing for all we know. There is a lot of options, and that will be up to the decision of these drivers of what they actually would like to compete in next season. That said, we're still here now in Season 1, 24 laps to go, and Bend Over has been cycled back nearly 4 positions now 5, stuck up on the high line behind that number 3 car of thirds. There's just nowhere he can really go in that 69, and it's causing him to get freight trained by all of the other drivers on the lead lap. And Sarah Brown's going to push it 3 wide. Contact, thirds is up into the wall. Everyone going to keep their cars going though. Just a minor bit of contact for that number 3, but a whole lot of trouble for that 69 of Bend Over. Definitely not going to be happy about the lapped cars holding him up when he was on the path to getting his first win here tonight. That now makes our lead battle, at least for the race, between Lake and Felix Marais. But that said, Felix has a whole second of deficit to try and make up. I do believe that Lake has pretty much cleared all of the lapped cars and now has a clean racetrack to do with as she pleases and try to make as big of a gap as possible between herself and the cars behind her. Currently looking at Oh You Know and Halo, currently one of the closest battles for position on the speedway. That said, Oh You Know, of course, stuck up to the high line a little bit and can't get back down because of the lapped car beneath him of the 37 of Dragon Space Queen. Trying to get around here and catch up to Halo in that 0. Halo also having a bit of difficulty with Peak Comedy, another car several laps down here tonight. Halo gonna try and see if it can't make a pass up on the high side, and that's not gonna work. It's gonna allow Oh You Know to actually get around it, and that's gonna filter Halo back another couple of positions. Lake is sailing away with this race, but the battle for third is heating up currently between Felix Marais, Bloody Wolf, and Med. All 3 of these drivers currently battling it out for position. They are all on the lead lap. A little bit of a gap between these drivers, currently about 0.3 of a second between Felix Marais and Bloody Wolf. We will have to see if they will be able to maintain their positions or not, because the pressure is certainly on. Bloody Wolf going to overdrive the corner a little bit and allow Med to make up a bit of gap. Med almost nearly using the bumper on that number 93 machine, but she is going to back out of the pass a little bit. Further back in the field, another battle going on for position between Maroon, August, and Stick. These 3 cars all battling it out for position, but they also have the race leader of Lake right behind them, so that is something they're all going to have to worry about. That 330 machine could mean a bit of danger for their little battle, but at the same time, this could also allow Felix Marais and Bloody Wolf to catch back up to the race leader as she tries to navigate her way around lap traffic yet again. 9 laps left to go around the speedway here tonight. Lake and Stick side by side. Stick just trying to get out of the way and not hold up the race leader, so next lap car that's going to be in the way is going to be that of Maroon in the 25. But August and Stick battling it out back there also going to mean a bit of difficulty for Felix Marais should he be able to catch up, because that's two cars that are side by side. He's going to have to try and find his way around. Here's a bit of a wider look at what's going on around the speedway. Currently, the camera is focused on our race leader of Lake in the 330 machine, then our second place driver in the black and green number 271 of Felix Marais. Drivers pretty spread out all across the track here tonight, but with the big high five up in the air, moves are going to be needed to make sooner rather than later. And you saw Bloody Wolf try to dive it in really deep there and nearly made contact with the 217, but the pass was just not going to work out for that 93 entry. This currently actually is one of the closest battles on the speedway, followed by the battle for these lap cars back in the 20th position of Zoe and the 117 of Sarah Saviron. 2 laps left to go here tonight. It does look like Lake has this race lead here in the bag in the number 330 machine. White flag up in the air. A second of gap between first and second, unless something goes really wrong in that number 330 machine. Lake is going to be our race winner here tonight. And bend over in the number 69 machine, without getting a single win under his belt this season, is our Ottercar iRacing League Series champion. So, big round of applause to all of these drivers who have been putting up an amazing show these past 12 weeks, and of course coming out and supporting the streams every week. This series could not have happened without all of y'all, and all of y'all making this happen is what made me start doing race commentating for actual iRacing leagues. So thank you all for giving me the push to kind of find myself a new hobby, I guess. And wow, can y'all believe that it's been 3 months of racing now? And we've came to the end here, race fans. Let's take a look at our official race results for the final time this season. First place going to the 330 machine of Lake, followed by Felix Marais in second for the 217. Third place is going to go to Bloody Wolf in the number 93, followed by Med in that number 1 machine. Fifth place going to go to our series champion of Bendover in the 69 machine in that Got Milk entry. What a wild card. I don't think a lot of people had it Bendover in their sports bets for being our season champion, but here we are. Sixth place is going to go to Valnar in the 776 Blazed and Drunk Drivers entry. Seventh is going to go to Halo in the 0 for the Hybrid Development team. Eighth place is going to go to OUNO in the 420 machine. Ninth place is going to go to Madcap in the number 38. 10th is going to be to Piper in the 8 entry, followed by Maroon in the 25 and 11th. 12th to August in the number 21. 13th to Stick in the 53. 14th to Drop Table Roster in the 369. 15th to Pav in the 12. 16th to his teammate Arvo Soberov in the 429. 17th to Humongous in the 621. 18th to Thirds in the number 3. 19th is going to go to Zoe in the 666 entry. 20th to Sarah Saviron in the 117. 21st to Frosty Film in that number 7. 22nd to Octave in the 11. 23rd to Space Dragon Queen in the 37. And finally, rounding out our field tonight, ironically enough, the winningest driver of the series is going to be Pete Comedy in that 717 machine. I gotta reiterate how much I appreciate all of y'all for making this whole little project happen. It all came upon a bit of a whim, and now here we are 3 months later, 12 races in the books, and a champion crowned for the first time of the Ottercar AI Racing League. So, race fans, we are going to be going on a little bit of a hiatus as the drivers and I figure out what we want to do with season 2, because there is a lot of potential for who knows what on the iRacing.com platform, because I made a very important discovery that the AI are actually able to drive cars that I don't own. So we're not restricted to the handful of cars that I actually am able to drive myself. So we will be having a big discussion about all of that. I will have to go through and calculate the points for the team championship, and of course, all of that will be posted on Twitter and on the Discord. But without further ado, this concludes the Ottercar AI Racing Series Season 1, and it's been a blast, and I look forward to seeing you all in Season 2. Have a good rest of your day, race fans.